Jeff Blanton.
You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
So your name is Jeffrey Blanton.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And your last name's spelled Blanton. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed by East Tennessee State University.
Okay. And what is your title there?
I'm the Associate Vice President of Administration and Operations
Okay. How long have you been with ETSU?
since January of 2021.
Okay. And is that where you were employed in late 2019 and early 2020?
No, ma'am, it was not.
Okay. Where were you employed during that time?
By the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Okay. In what capacity?
At that time, I was the supervisory senior resident agent in charge of the Upper East Tennessee.
Okay. And how long did you work for the FBI?
Just shy of 25 years.
Okay. Were you always employed with Upper East Tennessee Division?
No, ma'am, I've traveled other
Okay.
places.
Okay. Were you a member of the state or Safe Streets Task Force?
Yes, ma'am. I actually started the Safe Streets Task Force in Johnson City in 2012, and during 2019, I supervised the Safe Streets Task
Okay.
Force.
Can you tell the jury what that is?
Yes, the Safe Streets Task Force is made up of federal, state, and local officers and agents, and the purpose of the task force is to combat violent crimes. The typical violent crime you think of in bank robbery, drugs, extortions. And we also got involved in crimes against children as it relates to the Lindbergh Law from 1932.
Okay. And were you employed in that capacity on that task force along with the FBI when you were asked to aid in the investigation of missing child Evelyn Boswell?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay. What were you tasked with doing?
Detective Strickler from the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office notified me that there was a missing child in Sullivan County under the tender age, which by statute is 12 years old.
Okay.
That gives the FBI jurisdictional authority to assist local agencies in trying to find that missing child.
Okay.
So I actually didn't have any agents available to come talk with Detective Strickler, so myself and another task force officer came here to the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office and met with Detective Strickler in regards to missing juvenile.
Okay. So in order for, so to make sure I'm clear, in order for the FBI to be able to have jurisdiction and to provide aid, it needs to be a child 12 years of age or younger.
By our policy, we use the Lindbergh Law, the tender age law of 12,
Okay.
it gives us jurisdiction to work those cases.
Okay.
However, we're not restricted by that if someone asks for help either.
Okay. So tender age being 12 or under 12?
Or younger, yes, ma'am,
Okay.
that's correct.
And at some point in the investigation, did you yourself speak with Megan Boswell, the defendant?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. Was anyone else present when you spoke with Megan Boswell?
Yes, ma'am. Task Force Officer Todd Wilcox
Okay.
was also present during that interview.
Okay. And what agency was Todd Wilcox employed with?
Todd was assigned full-time to the FBI Safe Streets Task Force, but his home office was the Irwin Police Department.
Okay. And on February 19th, 2020, is that when the interview took place with Megan Boswell, with Todd Wilcox being present as well?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And where did that interview take place?
That interview occurred here at the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. And where in the sheriff's office did it occur?
There was a room, I'm going to assume it was an interview room outside of the detective's offices.
Okay. Is that located in Sullivan County, Tennessee?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. Was this interview video or audio recorded?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And can you explain to the jury why it was not?
Certainly. FBI policy does not allow us to audio or video record interviews outside of FBI space.
Okay.
If we are in FBI space, then certainly that's an option, but this interview was not recorded.
Okay. Let's see. Do you know how Megan Boswell got to the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office that day?
I don't have, she spoke with me, she said voluntarily, but I'm not sure exactly if someone dropped her off, if she
Okay.
walked there, I don't know how she got there.
Okay. So you sat down with an interview with her, and what did she tell you regarding her missing child, Evelyn Boswell?
She told me and Agent Wilcox that she had last seen Evelyn Boswell on December the 25th of 2019.
Okay. And where did she say she had last seen Evelyn?
She last saw Evelyn at the residence of Ethan Perry's grandparents. I believe their names were Carl and Sherry.
Okay. And did she state that she left Evelyn there, or did she state that she took Evelyn back after she went to that residence?
Yes, ma'am. I'll back up a little bit. The 25th is the last time she said that she saw her.
Okay.
She did tell me that she dropped her off at the residence on the 24th of December, the day before.
Okay. Was she able to give you an exact address of where she said Ethan was staying?
No, ma'am, she could not.
Okay. Did she say when she went to Carl and Sherry Perry's residence whether or not anyone was with her?
When she dropped Evelyn off on the 24th of December,
The 24th, okay.
yes, ma'am, she indicated that she did that alone, that no one was with her when she
Alone.
dropped her off.
Okay. Did she tell you what she did after she dropped Evelyn off that day?
Yes, ma'am. She informed me that she and her family then went with her boyfriend at the time, a fellow by the name of Hunter Woods,
Okay.
that Hunter and her family went to Margaritaville in Pigeon Forge, spent the night in Margaritaville, and then came back to the Sullivan County area on December the 25th.
Okay. Okay. Did she tell you if she went back to the Perry's residence after she dropped her off on December 24th?
Yes, ma'am, she did. She indicated that she went back on the 25th.
Okay. Did she say why she went back?
Yes, ma'am. Upon returning from Pigeon Forge, Margaritaville at Pigeon Forge, Miss Boswell indicated that she stopped by Tommy's house, I think Tommy Boswell Jr., if I
Okay.
remember correctly, and picked up some Christmas presents for Evelyn Boswell.
Okay.
On the 25th, she and her boyfriend, Mr. Woods, took the presents to the Perry's residence to drop them off for Evelyn.
Okay. And did she say whether or not they went into the house that day?
Miss Boswell indicated that Mr. Woods did not go with her up to the residence, that he dropped her off at the end of the driveway. She walked to the residence, and that she did not go into the house that day.
Okay. So she indicated that Hunter Wood stayed at the end of the driveway.
That's correct.
So did she indicate that they didn't even pull up to the top of the driveway to the house?
She indicated they did not pull up to the top of the driveway.
Why did she say that she wouldn't pull up to the top of the driveway?
She had some concern that Mr. Perry and Mr. Woods may get in some sort of argument or altercation. Therefore, Mr. Woods stayed at the bottom of the driveway, and Miss Boswell went up to the residence alone.
Okay. And did she indicate that she spoke with Ethan that day?
She did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did she indicate whether or not she saw Evelyn that day?
She indicated that she did see Evelyn on the 25th, but according to memory, she saw her on the 25th, but less than an hour.
Less than an hour. Okay. Did she indicate whether she saw anyone else at the residence that day?
No, ma'am, she did not.
Okay. And did she indicate that she went back to the residence at any time after that?
I don't have a recollection that she went back. I know she tried to make contact, she said, with her daughter Evelyn later, but I don't recall she going back. She went back to the residence.
Okay, so it's your belief that the last date was December 25th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. To your knowledge, did she tell you whether or not she'd ever left Evelyn with Ethan Perry prior to this time?
I don't recall that she indicated she had ever left her daughter with Ethan Perry prior to this.
Did she talk at all about the fact that Ethan was in the Army?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Okay. What did she say about that?
She told me that Ethan was in the Army, that he was home on break, and that she was going to let her daughter Evelyn stay with Ethan, who she indicated was his biological father, for the holiday.
Okay.
And that he also indicated that his contract was up, or was soon to be up, with the Army.
Okay. Okay, so after that date, December 25th, did the defendant indicate that she continued to go over to Ethan's house to try to see Evelyn?
No, ma'am, she did not.
Okay. So did she tell you she did not try to go back over?
Yes, ma'am, I recall having a conversation, and she said that she called, I think on New Year's Eve,
Okay.
but that she did not see Evelyn. There was some discussion, she indicated, between her at some point. I don't know if it was the 24th or 25th. I don't recall specifically. Maybe both days. She said they did get to an argument. That Mr. Perry said that he was going to try to get custody.
Okay. So she's telling you that Ethan had threatened her.
With attempting to get custody of Evelyn, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Did she show you any proof of any custody paperwork at any time?
She did not. I recall asking her who the biological father was on the birth certificate, and she indicated that it was not Mr. Perry. But I don't have any recollection of who that person was,
Okay.
if listed at all.
So at some point she told you Ethan Perry was not the father.
Not listed on the birth certificate.
Not listed on the birth certificate. Okay, I apologize. Okay. So, did Megan ever say why she hadn't contacted law enforcement when she could not get in touch with Ethan Perry?
Yes, ma'am, she did. I asked that question, and she said that because Mr. Perry had made threats that he would attempt to gain custody of the child,
Okay.
that she was fearful if she went to law enforcement that would further anger him and bolster his case about getting custody of the child.
Okay. Okay, so Megan has told you that she's never left Evelyn to stay with Ethan before this date. Did she ever explain to you why she felt like it was okay to leave Evelyn with essentially a stranger to Evelyn?
She indicated that she was, I recall her using the words worn out,
Okay.
that Evelyn was attached to her at the hip, and
Okay.
she needed a break, that she had taken care of Evelyn for a year, and she felt like it was time for Mr. Perry to step up,
Okay.
and that she had also been taking care of her father or stepfather's children, other children in the home,
Okay.
and she was tired.
Did she indicate whether or not she could handle Evelyn herself?
She indicated she was just getting too much to handle. Yes, ma'am.
Did you explain to Megan Boswell that the repercussions of lying to an FBI agent?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did she indicate that she understood?
Yes, ma'am, she did verbally.
Okay. Did she ever tell you she wanted to correct any of the information that she had given you?
No, ma'am, I went through all of the information in the notes that were taken and read them back to Miss Boswell, and she indicated she had nothing to correct.
Okay. So she continued to say that everything that she told you about Ethan was true.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am, she
Okay.
did.
During this interview, can you describe Megan Boswell's demeanor?
Yes, ma'am. Megan Boswell was very matter of fact, completely unemotional. It seemed to be unattached to the gravity of trying to locate a 1-year-old child at the time. She did show some emotion, began to tear up a little when I told her that she could be charged with a felony pursuant to lying to an agent if what she was saying was not true.
Okay. Okay, so after that date, as the investigation continued, were you able to confirm whether the story she was telling you on that date was true or not?
At a later date, yes, ma'am, I was able to confirm that she had not been truthful with me during that initial interview.
Okay. Please answer any questions the defense has for you.
Yes, ma'am.
You stop.
Good afternoon, Mr. Blanton. My name's Gene Scott. How are you?
Great, sir. Hope you are.
Thank you. What time of day was it when you arrived at the Sheriff's Department to conduct this interview?
It would have been in the afternoon. I can't give you an exact time, but I recall Detective Strickland calling me. I was actually sitting at my desk, so it was in the afternoon, if I recall correctly.
Okay. And as I understand it, it was at your behest that the interview was not recorded in that room. You had the cameras turned off because of FBI policy.
Yes, sir. The FBI, we take copious notes and document it thoroughly and go back over with the person we're interviewing to make sure the person is true and accurate in what we have documented. And our policy at the time, I know I've been retired for a few years, but our policy at the time was not to record those interviews.
Okay.
Not unless they occurred in FBI space.
Prior to conducting this interview, had you watched any other interviews of Megan Boswell with law enforcement?
No, sir, I had not personally watched any.
Okay. Had you been made aware of other interviews with her?
It seems like Detective Strickler may have spoken with her prior to me speaking with her, but I don't know the gist of those interviews.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Is he free to go?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir, for your testimony.
Yes, sir.
You're released to your subpoena.
Thank you.
Next.